Hello, bowling fans. This is Dustin J. Markowitz coming to you taped, as always, from the gem along the Colorado River. Actually, Fort Mojave, Arizona, as I'm now on location here in Elite Pro Shop to bring you yet another rendition of Bowling Evolved. And joining me, as always, is my partner in crime. He is the 5-time PBA national champion. He is a millionaire on the PBA Tour, and, of course, he is the man with the golden left hand, the one and only Eric Forkel. Eric, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and the fact that you're allowed in a pro shop, that is a crime. The fact that they let you walk into a pro shop and work in there, somebody needs to be arrested. I've got to call your mom right away.
I know. Yes, it is.
Besides that,
I know.
Besides that, it's always good to hear from you, my friend.
Thank you. And yeah, it's been a very interesting summer. Yeah, it's been a very interesting summer. As Eric said, yes, I am working in the pro shop again. My mom is kind of wanting to wind down a little bit, so I'm coming in as a manager in the shop, getting to learn a little bit more about the only side of the industry I really haven't done much with. From a performance standpoint and from a coordinating standpoint, I've done just about everything else. So it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. And, of course, it's also given me time to not only get back into the writing side of things, but also to watch the one bowler I have a lot of respect for, that Norm Duke. No, I'm kidding, Eric. Of course, watching my buddy Eric out on the senior tour. And you've been very busy this summer as well, bowling both the Senior U.S. Open and the Senior Masters.
Yeah, it's been a busy month. Unfortunately, they've had both events here in Vegas with a couple in between that I couldn't quite get to. But once again, I had a couple of really good showings. I fared well at the Open and did very well at the Masters. And it's always great to knock heads with the greatest in the world. And I even got lucky and beat that Parker Bone guy in a match. So things are going up. But unfortunately, that Walter Ray guy, he took me out. But overall, it was a nice couple of weeks, good a couple of events, and it was fun. It really was.
It was fantastic to watch you, and of course, we had a lot of press releases on Eric's bowling and a lot of things in the bowling world. Do want to give a shout out to Fred Eisenhammer, who is consistently putting up information on our Bowling Evolved page. Again, check out bowlingevolved.com. It links directly to our Facebook. A lot of new content every day. Fred does a fantastic job, and you never know, even Eric and I might pop up on there once in a while. We founded a thing. You think we'd actually put more stuff up there, you know, Eric?
Well, that's what we have Fred for. He's the guy who puts stuff up when we're not doing this, to keep things rolling. But hopefully we can get back into a bit of a groove and we can start doing a few more shows. And hopefully they'll be interesting to people to listen to.
Absolutely. I do want to say real quick also to all of our listeners, we do plan on eventually moving our show to Mixlr. Mixlr is an online radio broadcast system. Eventually, once we get some shows pre-recorded and, as Eric said, get back in the groove, we would like to start doing live show, which would allow us to have our listeners actually watch the show, type in text, and basically call into the show, ask questions, and have a lot of fun. So look forward in the horizon to that. Probably sometime, my guess, is during the fall season. But with that being said, we have always tried to be as innovative as possible with Bowling Evolved, and I can't think of anyone else that fits that definition better than our guest tonight. He is the owner and founder of MONGOOSE Bowling Products. He is a tremendous bowler and basically Eric and I's boss, as we both bowl for him at Stafford. So I think we have to be nice to him, maybe just a little bit.
Well, it's you know what? It's really easy to be nice. It's very easy to be nice to someone who is incredibly nice to bowlers, and it's been a pleasure knowing him for all these years. And I'm so glad that we still can get together and do this and try to sell more product and get everybody interested in all the new MONGOOSE products, because there's quite a few new ones.
Absolutely. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Steve Adams. Steve, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
Not a problem. How are you two doing tonight?
We're doing quite well there, my friend. We just got done spending some time together at Bowl Expo. I enjoyed both days. It was fantastic. And I thought the show went great. What do you think?
I agree completely. The show was phenomenal. Probably one of the busiest trade shows we've had in a long time. A lot of overseas inquiries, which was nice to see. I think it was a success all the way through with Paula being there and Brian Hirsch and Sean Wood and you and Sharon, my fiance, did a phenomenal job helping everyone out at the trade show. So, yeah, I think it all went very well.
Well, it seems like Mongoose as a whole is doing fantastic right now. Of course, to all of our listeners, I'm sure you're familiar with Mongoose bowling products. The Mongoose wrist supports have been around for the last 35 years. Absolutely tremendous. Some of the top bowlers in the world have used them. I will say that you should check out mongooseproducts.com to see the whole line of Mongoose products. And Steve, it really is an interesting time for Mongoose. I mean, you took a lot of time away from the bowling industry to come back and sort of get a stranglehold, or at least attempt to again. We have a new website launching. We have a bunch of videos that are going to be over and up on the web and hopefully on TV as well here within the next 6 months or so. How does it feel? How does it feel coming back after the time away and comparing the industry today to how it was when you first started?
Well, launching new products is a lot easier with all the media exposure we have now compared to years ago. Years ago, it was pretty much word of mouth or Bowler's Journal ads and such. The time off I had, I took about 12 years off bowling professionally, completely. So when I came back, it was a little, they had reactive resin, but I wasn't throwing it too much at the time. When I'd walk into the regionals or the PCCBs up here in Northern California, they'd always say, "Here comes Mr. Urethane," because I always talked hit ball. So getting used to these new balls and where less is more has been quite a challenge to get my game back to where I feel like I can compete with these guys. Now we have all Parker and all the boys coming up that are turning 50, and so it's making it twice as hard at this point.
You would think it would be an easy tour these days with all these guys you never heard of, like Walter Ray Williams and Parker Bowen. I mean, these guys are what, flash in the pan, right, Eric?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the senior tour, like we had mentioned in the past, was as tough as ever. And Steve has bowled a few here and there, and he can definitely attest to that. But again, you know, it's all about the competition and just having the opportunity to compete against those guys and to see where you're kind of at. That's what it's all about, and that's why we still do it.
Absolutely, and it has been a little bit of a challenge. I went to revamp my entire game, and that was a mistake, so that messed me up for about a year and a half. Went back to what I know how to do and just have a little bit softer hand, and that seemed to help more than anything.
Great. Well, it's amazing how they always say that as much as things change, you could always go back to the basics and find your own style. And interestingly enough, as far as bowling goes, it's not just yourself, but also what Mongoose products have been doing for the industry. Now, not to sound too much like an infomercial, but I find it amazing that, you know, again, 35 years after the first Mongoose came on the market, people still are in love with these things, and you're still coming out with innovations that really blow everyone away, including the clean shot. And Steve, how do you come up with these ideas? And again, what's your feeling on just seeing your products continue to thrive in today's game?
Well, we started off, after I did a shout out to Brian Williams, a buddy of mine here and a PBA member in Northern California. He's in the Air Force here, and after the PWBA tournament 2 years ago at Steve Cook's Fireside Lanes, we were talking, and he kind of mentioned something about just a little taking the equalizer and shortening it up so you could uncup the ball and such as the new players are doing. And I said, well, let me see what I can come up with. So I came up with a new product, and it seems to have gone over really well. Ben Laughlin out of Arizona is bowling pain-free for the first time in 10 years. And I would say about 90% of the bowlers that we put it on that have any pain, wrist at all, it goes away, which is a great thing for the bowlers. Like Paula Vidal said, she as well has arthritis. She puts it on. She's now bowling pain-free. You're able to, as I like to say, throw it like a yo-yo, as the new Rev guys are playing, uncupping their elbow and wrist at the same time and snapping it off. So it's not so much a brace as it is a wrist protection, support, and a reminder of what you're supposed to be doing with the ball at the bottom.
Yeah, I could tell from even my perspective, having to switch to two hands, as we talked about on the show before, I have degenerative tendonitis and arthritis, osteoarthritis in my wrist, and I wear the clean shot as a protection for myself. And before that, though, I was using the lifter product, which was fantastic. And Eric, I believe you use the lifter as well, correct?
Yeah, I've used all the products, but I really fell in love with the Optimum because, like I said, you can do 3 or 4 different things to that glove. You can make it a lifter, you could make it an equalizer, you can keep it as an Optimum. That to me is the Swiss Army knife of the Mongoose products. And if you have a clean shot, if you have like one, obviously a clean shot and an Optimum, I think you've got it all covered. It just covers all the bases. And it's nice to be able to, at times when you want to lock your hand down, go ahead and lock it down and get that maximum lift and on the ball. And then when you want to keep your hand open to be able to move your wrist in any way that you like, uncup it, do whatever you want. That to me is where the clean shot steps in. And in doing so, it still gives you tremendous support to the tendons in your wrist. And for those players who've got wrist problems, it seems to just take care of that. I don't have a wrist problem, but I really like the way it supports that part of my wrist in case there any problems come up. So between the two devices, it's terrific.
I agree completely. I keep the Optimum, the lifter, and the clean shot in my bag. Eric and I were speaking of this at Bowl Expo over the week, and if I have 47 feet of oil, I will put the clean shot on because I do uncup it and hit the ball harder that way, get it into a roll center, I should say. But if I'm playing the cheetah pattern, I'll put the lifter on or the Optimum on, so I'm just up behind the ball and throwing with more speed down the outside. So they all have their uses. Linda Kelly uses it quite well. She switches between them. Astrid Galante does as well between the equalizer and the clean shot. So it's kind of like switching bowling balls. It really does make a big difference on your hand positioning and how you release the ball and the roll you get out of them.
And let's not forget that there's also the wedge system that can be applied to the lifter or the Optimum to give you more support and create a little more torque on the ball. So that again, that's just another piece that can be added to this. So, God, to me, if you've got like an Optimum and you've got the wedge system, you've got 7 or 8 things you can do to one glove to change that roll motion on the bowling ball. And I can't think of any other product. You can take all the mechanical products, and you can't take any product there and have all the options you have with something, say, like the Optimum with the wedge system. There's nothing like it.
No.
That's what makes this thing so special. And again, that's why I personally am involved with Mongoose, as and there's that's if I want the best, I gotta go with the best, and that gives me the best options. And that's why the product is that's why the product is what it is, and we'll just keep trying to push it and get people to understand it. And that's why down the road, very soon, we're going to have some tremendous product videos to show what these things can do on the lanes and what it can do to ball motion. And I think that's what is going to blow people away.
I agree. It does make a big difference, and the wedge kit is very nice. It combats the very heavy, uncomfortable mechanical ones and does allow your wrist to be adjusted ½ inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch more cup on the ball, plus the overall unit with the wedge kit, which weighs less than ½ an ounce, the wedge itself. So we're about 6½ ounces max on any of the products with a wedge in it compared to 17 to 18 ounces of the steel mechanical ones. And we're not sitting on neoprene. We are sitting on pure, soft material, lightweight, comfortable. And that's why I designed the wedges for that purpose.
It's funny you bring that up, too, because I think that's one of the biggest reactions I get, at least in my pro shop. And, Eric, I'm sure you get it, too, when people will look at something, and I don't want to name another product from another company, but obviously you get some of these mechanical products, and people are so uncomfortable wearing them, they put on a Mongoose, and they're totally shocked at because they were designed with bowlers in mind, and it seems like some of these mechanical products, it's almost awkward and painful to wear, let alone to actually have to maneuver it. I can't understand why someone would not want to try something that obviously is designed more so for the bowler in mind?
No, I've had over the last 35 years, or I should say really the last 25 years, I've probably had 100 samples from overseas sent to me, wanting to private label them for me. And I put them on my hand, and I just wear them around the house, and I can't stand it. So I really can't imagine throwing a bowling ball with it on there. This does not feel, it just doesn't feel comfortable. It just doesn't feel like it belongs there.
Yeah, it's really quite amazing, and as Eric said, I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm with the company as well. I mean, you've obviously done some tremendous things, and I think that the Mongoose the whole system is wonderful for basically any type of bowler, really. And I'm not the only one, Steve. Now, you've actually put together recently a very strong staff. Who's all now on with the Mongoose bowling staff?
I would have to get into my computer to find that out. But we have Lindsay Kelly, Ashley Galante, Henry Gonzalez, Eric Forkel, Brian Hirsch, Sean Wood as amateurs. Wendy McPherson has been wearing it since day one pretty much. As of Mike Scroggins, PBA 50th Rookie of the Year, is back with it since I re-registered. First time he put it on, he went out and averaged 260 for the entire tournament. So yeah, we're building the staff as we go. And
Harry Solons as well, correct?
Harry Solons, yep, just inducted into the Hall of Fame, USBC Hall of Fame, and he always makes a good showing out there. He's done a phenomenal job. I should be paying him salary. It'd be cheaper than paying him for all his wins for the incentives I have out there.
That's fun. Well, I have to say though, I mean, I not to rub or toot our own horns, but I think between Brian Hirsch, obviously has been a friend of our shows for a long time, Eric and myself, I think you got a pretty strong showing at least on. Well, Brian's no longer out here though. I can't say that. He had to move, so he ruined the West Coast family that we have out here.
I know. And we also beat up a lot of colleges, Arizona State, Russ Soviet, and I've heard their coach has always been behind the Mongoose. Mo Purnell is the only product he's ever carried in his pro shop has been Mongoose when I talked to him last year. So we have a lot of the coaches using it. Mount Mercy College, we're now a sponsor of theirs, and they're on staff. Arizona State just picked up, who am I trying to think of here? Cal Poly, which is real big in the collegiate bowling, but they wanted in there, so we got Josh on there on his team. He contacted me. He's wearing the clean shot. So the clean shot has brought in a lot of the new modern release bowlers that want the wrist protection, but also need the flexibility of uncupping and moving their hand where they want to. So it's been a really good product for the younger generation, and that's what I was shooting for with that, is to protect these guys' wrists who are uncupping and hitting the ball so hard these days and putting so many revs on them before they just, it keeps it from hyperextending their wrist even when they uncup. So it is protecting their wrist, and they're realizing that, and it gives you a good idea where you're at throughout your swing with the clean shot on as well. Whether you're breaking your wrist at the back or not, it gives you a little reminder there. It's a little bit too much. So it's been a great tool, and it's been very well taken in by all the bowlers of all ages. So can't say any more than that other than so far so good.
Absolutely fantastic. And I also do want to say on behalf of all bowlers, we know that Mongoose has obviously sponsored a lot of different collegiate events, as well as donating money to breast cancer research with its pink version of its Mongooses. And, Steve, on behalf of a lot of very happy bowlers out there, thank you for everything you've done. And, the next question is, what's new on the horizon? What's next for Mongoose?
Just more promoting, more videos. As Eric said earlier, more education on what you can do with them, what they can do for your game, changing from one device to another. We are going to be getting to more accessories, from bowler's tape to tacky tape, have samples coming in as we speak. So those will be increasing the line. Just do a more complete overall accessory line as I should have probably done 20 years ago, but I didn't. So we're just going to continue on with new products and see what we can make happen here.
Wonderful. And I know we had spoken as well that there might be the possibility of some demo days Mongoose supports in the future, too. Do you see that happening in some different bowling centers around the country?
I've had several of my staff members wanting to do them. We're going to start putting together kits so they have plenty of sizes, plenty of product to do them. They all want to do them. Ashley wants to do one at her center. Josh, one of my college students, he wants to do one. So they're just waiting for me to pull the trigger, put together the package, and get it out to them, and hopefully be able to have the time to fly out and help do it, and get Eric out there, get you out there, get my staffers out there to help along with them, and do some demo days on wrist supports instead of just bowling balls constantly. And I think it'll really help the industry learn more about our products and show what changes you can make on your roll and your effectiveness on the lanes with changing from product to product and what they can do for you.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, it looks like we are closing in towards the end of our show. I want to say thank you very much for being here again to all of our listeners. Please check out mongooseproducts.com again. Here in the next few months, you're going to be seeing a new website, new videos, product galore, everything you could possibly think of with some of the greatest bowlers that are signed to the Mongoose staff. And, Steve, again, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
No problem. One other final thing, just to all the listeners out there, any junior programs, any high school programs, any collegiate any collegiate programs, always feel free to text, call, email me, and you can have any product you want to any of the junior programs. I've always donated to all of them. I've always coached the juniors for free all the way up through their ranks until they go to college. So any of that type of stuff that anybody listening out there needs for their schools, please feel free to get a hold of me, and it's all free of charge. I will send you out whatever you need for your players. And so that's about it. Try to give back as much as I've got the last 35 years in the business.
Wow. That is absolutely incredible. Eric, I mean, I don't know of anyone else in this industry that's doing anything like that at that scale. Do you?
No, that's quite awesome, but I totally expect it. We've talked about this a lot, Steve and I, and that's just the kind of person he is. And, he believes in giving back, and he does. And that's another great thing about Mongoose products. I mean, like I said, as soon as we start showcasing the product in videos and showing people what you can do with these, with a bowling ball in your hand, people will be very, very surprised how good these products are. We know the secret of the products. The trick is to get everyone out there to know what these products can do to help your game. Bowling balls are terrific. You got to have them to knock down the pins, but it's also a pretty good idea to have something that will allow you to change your roll and adjust your ball motion by just being able to use this device that's on your wrist. And I think it's special, and I look forward to helping people down the road by showing them basically the power of the Mongoose.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because a lot of the colleges have called me and said, well, what's the college pricing? I said, $0. And they'll go, well, I said, no, you don't. I said, if your players want to use it, I'm more than happy. I always have. Played assistant coach at Sierra College here for a little bit with them while they were getting their program together, and after we taught their coach how to coach a little bit that they had that wasn't real knowledgeable at the time. This was about 15 years ago. Junior college here, right in town here where I'm at. And so I got them on the right track, and I really do enjoy coaching as well. I've only just recently got into silver USBC, only because they haven't had a bronze one in so long or they're all on the East Coast. They don't have them out here. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Karen Pullman out of Washington, does a phenomenal job on when she taught the silver trout the clinic that I went to over in the Bay Area. And it was very nice to see that they actually teach what I have coached over the years and what I have learned from my deceased coach, Smitty, out of San Diego, who worked with every bowler down there, Jess Dayrook, Jim Murdershaw, Al Truax. No, Eric, did you ever work with Smitty at all?
When I was very young, yes, I did.
Yeah, so miss him dearly. He was a very good friend, and he helped bowling as much as any person that I've ever met. And like I told Sharon, I said, if he was still around, he could have fixed my game in 2 weeks instead of taking 2 years when I came back.
Well, it sounds like that there's a lot of great things in the future for Mongoose. I do want to say to our listeners as well, feel free to message the Bowling Evolve Facebook page or go to the Mongoose Facebook page as well. Any information that you need on the product, if you're involved with a school or a junior program, we'd be happy to forward any information we can. Again, Mongoose is not just about selling product, it's about helping bowling grow, and I think, Steve, that you've done a tremendous job over the last several years and continue to do so with what you've been doing with the product. So kudos to that. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to take us into the show. I can't believe it took us this long to get another one up, Eric. What's your problem with this thing? I don't know. I don't get it.
Oh, it's almost over. Oh, that's sad. Well, it's okay. It's okay that it's over. That means we'll be able to do another one since we're still doing this. We'll have plenty more coming down the road. Hopefully we'll have a few more interesting people come join us. I'm glad we finally got a chance to have Mr. Adams on the show. We've been trying for a while, and we finally got our schedules all together, and we did it. So just like you always say, look forward to some more interesting shows, and sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're controversial, but they're always, hopefully, entertaining.
So I say next time we do some controversial ones on over the last few years, and two-handed bowlers and such, which I really don't have a problem with. Brian Voss as well does, obviously, but he always has, even back in the 80s with, what do you remember his name, Eric? Was it Markowitz out of San Diego?
Yeah, Bob Markowitz.
Yeah, Brian was wanted him not to be able to bowl back then, so he stuck to his guns at least. And 30 years later, he's still not happy about it. But
well, he's just got his own belief, and he's very opinionated. And for some reason, a lot of bowlers like to listen to him when he gets on social media and starts. And he's even put it to print, obviously, in the Bowler's Journal. And supposedly, he has a way to fix the new way of bowling, and he has a new system, and basically eliminating pretty much resin balls. And he's got some interesting ideas, Brian, to make it more pure like it used to be. And I guess for old school people, it sounds terrific, but you know, it is everything gets better. Just like in every sport and every game, things advance, things change, and it just depends.
Golf clubs, you can't almost miss them anymore. You put them solid no matter where you hit them, whether it's on the toe or the heel. They still fly just about as far as you can and feel the difference. So like you say, all the sports are evolving. All players are allowed to wear tacky gloves. You know, they get their 7-inch paw on that ball, and they can bring it in like nothing. So everything changes. So you just have to go along with it. And actually, I think Jesper, left-hander there from Sweden, is going to probably be the ruler of the new two-handed bowlers. I bowled with the World Series of Bowling last year, and myself and Noel Vasquez, who just won his first PBA 50 national title, who he bowled very well, is a good friend of mine. So got to give him kudos for that while we're on here. And but I think he's going to end up taking over the whole the two-handed lead of things here pretty soon. He was unbelievable. Messengers, he was sitting across the pin deck. You had to really watch the messenger moved so fast you thought it was just part of the raft going down.
Oh. The two-handed bowlers are tremendous. Go ahead, Eric.
No, I agree. I mean, it is a phenomenal thing. I've watched him bowl a few times on TV. He is fantastic. He's amazing. He's not only two-handed, but he does it with urethane.
Exactly.
When he has to throw a resin ball, he's nowhere near as effective, but you'll always see him throwing urethane. He's got probably 20 different types of urethane layouts, but it's amazing that that's really all he can throw is the urethane. And, I mean, it's just, everyone's got their little niche, and that's his thing. And he happens to be obviously left-handed. Most of the time your two-handed bowlers, predominantly they're right-handed. So for him to do it on the left, it's kind of unique, and I think he does it because, in my opinion, he does use urethane. It's always a different game, left to right, and to do it with resin with two hands, that would be a little more challenging and probably not as productive. So he's found the right trick for himself, and that's great. But, and we've talked about this before, Dustin. All this stuff is fine and dandy, but the idea is to find great sponsors with good money so more people can make a living and push this thing the other direction. Right now, the tour is not that way. It hasn't been that way for many, many years. So all this stuff about two hands, urethane, all this stuff, to me is not that exciting or big of a deal. I want to see when they used to have 25, 30 tournaments a year here in the United States. That would be a big deal. When it was live TV again, that would be a big deal. All this other stuff is, it's nice to talk about, but it's just not that exciting for me.
Well, and of course,
exposure it always did before, and coming back though, the last couple of years have shown a lot of improvement with the women back out on tour.
Sure.
With all the All-Stars and Hall of Famers coming up, have made that more interesting and more viewable. So Ron Moore owned it for a lot of years, and he still does. He's still right there with all of them. He's phenomenal for never being on the national tour. I was just talking to him the other day and congratulated him, and also Pete Weber on his 5 out of 6 victories. And it's just a great thing to see these guys that have not been out there before and come out at 50 and dominate the PBA 50 tournament.
Yeah, it's just a shame they don't have the live TV like they used to have back in the 80s and 90s, so people could actually witness the talent level and how great the guys on the senior tour are live every week on ESPN. That's the biggest shame of this whole thing. Weber's won 5 out of 7, and only the people in the bowling community know about it. Nobody else really does. That's the sad part.
Right.
Yeah, and again, and we've said it on many occasions that, and when we had Tom Clark on the show, of course, that it's a different direction that the sport has taken, which is unfortunate, but I think this might be another conversation for another show. Again, we're at the end of the line here. We want to say once again, thank you very much to Steve Adams for coming on tonight. Steve, it's wonderful to have you on. We've definitely got to have you on again, my friend.
Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to do it again whenever you need me.
Wonderful. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for sticking with us. We do plan on getting some more shows up before switching over to our live broadcast on Mixlr here in the near future. But for my partner, the illustrious, the amazing, the incredible Eric, how much are you paying me for saying this? I forget.
Not enough, but keep going.
The man with the golden left hand, the one and only Eric Forkel. I've been Dustin J. Markowitz. Have a great night.